On the MBTA Green Line trolley crash.
Also, President Barack Obama and former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney met at the White House today. Good evening, I'm Ashley Benoit.
And I'm Mike Ciccone. Welcome to WEBN News.
We have breaking news about an MBTA crash at the Boylston T-stop. Dozens were injured when two trolleys collided underground.
Now, one of the drivers was injured. MBTA spokesman Joe Pesatero has told WEBN that the agency is now looking into operator error.
Joy Powers is live outside the Boylston station to tell us what happened. Joy?
The two Green Line trolleys were headed outbound toward Boylston from Park Street Station. One trolley stopped, the other one didn't. Emily Fratchling was on the one that didn't. She saw her trolley coming for a collision.
Very weird. Now, in retrospect, I just didn't realize it was such a huge deal. And then, going closer, I was like, okay, we're not going to slow down. It's going to brake really fast, like sometimes the T does. And then I was like, wow, we're about to hit it. And then it just happened.
Emergency workers rushed to the scene to help passengers. Between 100 and 200 passengers had been on the trolleys when the accident happened. 36 people were injured. 9 people were wheeled out in stretchers. They suffered possible head and neck injuries. They were taken to nearby hospitals for evaluations and treatment. The superintendent and MBTA chief John O'Connor has said no one appeared to have life-threatening injuries.
Shortly before noon, we received a call that there was a trolley made contact with a two-car trolley that was on the platform here at the station. Transit police along with EMS and Boston Fire responded and discovered that an accident had occurred. There were a number of injured. EMS and fire escorted individuals out of the station. Currently, transit police were conducting an investigation into the facts and circumstances of what occurred here today.
Boston EMS Chief James Hooley believes the crash could have been worse.
Initially, when they extricated up about 9 patients that required some mobilization, neck injuries, loaded them up, transported them off. All the rest, there was about another 26 that we evaluated for minor injuries, bumps, contusions. And we brought them over. The T provided a bus for us to get them out of the cold weather. And we're evaluating them, and they're being distributed to hospitals in Boston as well.
The station was closed for several hours while authorities investigated the crash. It reopened mid-afternoon with few delays. Live in Boston, I'm Joy Powers for WEBN News.
Thank you, Joy. When the crash happened, WEBN co-news director Katia Bilkina was inside the Boylston station waiting to take a train.
Now, Joel David has an exclusive interview with Katia about what happened after the two trains crashed.
I'm Joel, and I'm here with Katia Bilkina, who witnessed the entire accident. Can you explain a little bit about how you felt when you came up on the scene?
Well, it was right before noon, and I came down the Boylston T-stop, and the first thing I saw was that B-line train that was standing at the station, and people were actually coming out of the train, and all people came out of the train. It was like, okay, something is broken, I'll just wait, I have to catch up my train. And I was standing there, and something wrong was going on. People, like MBTA workers, they were going, at the station, they were rushing, they had these flashlights, they were going under the train and trying to find something. And then one of the firefighters went down the train, and I saw the other train that was so close to the B-line train that was at the station. And people were actually coming out of that second train through the tunnel with the MBTA workers escorting them. And then I realized maybe there is something wrong indeed going on there. And then I turned back and I saw this old lady and the two young women were holding her hands and helping her get out of the train. And she had her pants scooped up, and she had this big swollen knee, and she looks like she's in pain. And I thought, wow, she must have a broken leg. And the ambulance came in, and they were trying to help her. And then firefighters came in with these long metal bulks. They were trying to do something. I don't understand.
Were people kind of in a state of panic? How were they being escorted? Were they upset? Were they scared?
Well, actually, they were not. It was totally under control. They were calm. I didn't understand what's happening, but I was just standing there. I was calm. I was just watching what other people are doing. The MBTA workers were rushing. They were not so calm. They were rather worried, but the passengers are all set.
And so can you just talk a little bit about how this changes your outlook on the MBTA, and do you feel safer riding it, or is it something that's changed your whole perception of it?
That's a good question. No, I don't think it will not change my perception. I know that this is a transportation. You have to be careful. This is life. I mean, you don't know when it's going to happen and what is going to happen. You just have to be careful and know the rules, that you always follow the MBTA workers. If you take a seat, just hold on to something, and if you can help someone, just do this.
Exactly.
But it's life.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming in and speaking to us. Back to you at the desk.
Katie O'Donnell is here with us to tell us how the medical emergency was handled.
Now, Katie, we understand Boylston Street was blocked with both ambulances and police cars.
That's right. Boston's finest responded quickly to the accident. Deputy Fire Chief Richard DiPinetto and first responders took quick action.
There were no extrications, there was no derailment, and there was no fire. So it basically became a medical issue, and we then began transporting people above to EMS.
We received 3 patients from the accident with minor.
Right now, it's unknown how many of those injured will be staying in the hospital. Back to you, Mike.
Now, today's crash was not the first for the MBTA. 2 previous crashes occurred in the past 4 years. Back in May of 2008, the driver of a Green Line trolley fell asleep. The operator was killed when the trolley crashed into a parked trolley in Newton. Now, one of the passengers was seriously injured. $8 million in damage was reported. Now, just another year later, that crash happened, this time at the Government Center T-stop. The driver of a Green Line trolley was texting and slammed into another trolley in the tunnel. 68 people were hurt. The damage total, $10 million. After the break, we will hear from Political Pulse.
We'll also have your international news. Stay with us.